Hello everyone. So I thought it would be great to do a plant of the day video, and the plant that I chose today is my neon queen pothos. She's still a little itty bitty plant, but she's just so beautiful. Now, those of you who've watched my channel for a while now know that I had several different types of pothos planted in one ginormous pot. And they were doing well for a while, but then some of the varieties were starting to squeeze out other varieties. One of the varieties that was suffering was my Enjoy here. She was really getting squeezed out, and now I've taken her out. She's just doing phenomenal. So that's one thing you want to remember. Even though pothos are pothos, some of them in lighting conditions are going to grow faster than others, and unfortunately the Enjoy is a very slow grower and the others are kind of bullying her around. So to save some of the pothos that was in that pot, I split up and put them in their separate corners, so to speak. But my neon queen is one of my favorites. She lives in a west facing window. She gets light directly through a sheer curtain, and she just adores that amount of light that she gets towards the afternoon and end of day. They come from Southwest Asia and the West Pacific Islands, so you know that's the type of lighting and humidity and requirements they're going to have when they're in your home. So as far as light, they love bright and direct light. They can tolerate medium and even low light conditions. What brought me back into plants after I had so many failed attempts was a green pothos and a golden pothos that I got for $5 at a supermarket. Literally, you can find these plants anywhere, especially those more common varieties like the golden pothos and the green pothos. I think that's called, oh my gosh, it's not an emerald. Jade pothos is what it's called. They are very easygoing plants. They really, really are in general, except for the Enjoy, which can be a little bit finicky and slow to grow. But in general, pothos, they will tolerate almost any light you give them. The green variety, like the emeralds and the jades, they'll do great in low light, and you won't even notice a difference except for the sizing up of the leaves and the amount of growth in the period of time that you have the plant, right? You won't see a reverse in variegation. I'm going to tell you now, with plants that have a lot of variegation like this neon queen, if you put her in a low light condition, she will grow slower for you, and you will see her leaves get darker and darker and darker as she's putting them out. This one would look darker, but it doesn't because she's getting plenty of light, and she would revert. And once the leaves they put out revert, they don't change back. Those leaves stay the way they are. Now, if you put them back into a higher light situation, then they'll start putting out variegated leaves again. But that's just one thing to keep in mind if you bring one of these guys home and you're considering where to put them in your home relative to light. If you're really, really, really loving that variegation, you want to give them bright and direct light. Direct light will scorch the leaves, it will fry them, so don't let direct sunlight touch the leaves. The plant won't like it. As far as water, I water this when it's almost completely dry. Some people say you should keep it moist and you shouldn't let it get close to being dry, but I found these plants to be tanks. They really, really can handle almost completely drying out completely. I do that because I used to love my plants to death with water, and I tend to be more heavy-handed with water than being too light with water. So I'd rather be on the side of caution so I don't get root rot in my plant. So I almost let it completely dry out. I have it in a well-draining soil Usually it's mixed with peat moss and perlite to make sure it holds on to some moisture, but it doesn't, make it soggy and boggy. It lets it drain really, really well. You also want to make sure the plant is in a planter's pot with lots of drainage. You see that this plant has lots of drainage on the bottom. Ooh, its roots are peeking. And then if you don't, you can just put that in a decorative pot. Obviously I like terracotta. It goes really, really well with my decor of my home, but you can put it in any type of decorative pot. I top water. You can also bottom water. I have a lot of plants, so I find it quicker to top water my plants, and then the excessive water will just drain out through the drainage holes in the planter's pot into the decorative pot, and then I go back and 20 minutes later and I dump out any excess water. As far as humidity, I found these plants, honestly, I live in a humid environment, but I feel that they can handle anywhere from 45% and up. In fact, some of them have been in drier areas of my home and done absolutely fine. Like I said, I feel like they're dozers, they're tanks of the plant world. They can just pretty much handle anything you throw at them. They may adjust like the color of the leaves or their growth rate, but they will do just fine. Don't be afraid to prune, especially with this type of plant. You see how this girl, she's very, very sparse. As she grows longer and longer stems, I'm gonna prune her back, and then she will start to look like this girl here. She'll get fuller and fuller and fuller. And I don't know if you notice, I enjoy some of the global green got mixed up when I repotted, and it's living in sweet harmony with the enjoy that it was previously bullying around. But the more you propagate and you cut back the plant, you prune, the plant is going to get bushier and bushier and bushier and become fuller for you. So don't be afraid to prune. It's very, very healthy for the plant. It really, really is. And you can always pop it in some water. If you prop it by node and you put that node in water, you can grow some roots, put it in some soil, and you have a whole new plant. So it's a win-win, right? As far as water, make sure you use, I found that this plant doesn't really care if it gets a lot of chemicals or I would say minerals in the water, but because all my other guys, my tropicals do kind of have a sensitivity to it, I give them distilled or rainwater anyway. But in a pinch, I have given my Pothos just regular sink water, and they've done just fine with it. They haven't punished me like a lot of my other tropical plants would. They would punish me hard. Believe it, they would. As far as pests, they get the gamut. And it's hard because there's so much leaf in the plant. Sometimes you can have an infestation of something and it's very hard to catch it early. Spider mites, mealybugs, aphids. I hate aphids. Of the plants I have lost, it's been to aphids. They don't get the respect they should. They can really, really hurt a plant. Scale, these plants can get it all because of the leaf structure and the way the plant kind of is growing within itself. So I try to keep my leaves clean because especially with this type of leaf, you could have a spider mite infestation and it would be very easy to miss because spider mite damage can kind of look like dust, and because of the speckling kind of pattern of the variegation on the neon pothos, it can be kind of hard to notice it right away. So you really want to make sure that I hose my pothos down in the shower, and then I just kind of dry off the leaves. This one actually just got a shower today. That's why she's still got a little bit of rain droplets on her, or I should say shower droplets. But I found that that's really been helpful for me to, you know, if there's a spider mite or two on there that I haven't seen, once a month, giving it a nice shower and wipe down helps get rid of anything that might be trying to take root in my plant. If you start seeing that there is a pest on the pothos, you can use straight up neem oil, works really, really good. You can use a systemic if it's a dire situation, or I use my own personal mix of 2 tablespoons of Dawn soap with 2 tablespoons of neem oil in a gallon of distilled, and I just spray them down once a week for about, I would say, 6 to 8 weeks to try and keep on top of the life cycle of any type of pest. And then I keep them separated from the rest of my plants as best as I can, unless they've already shared with their neighbors, and then they can all just be in the corner together, if you know what I mean. As far as fertilizing, I fertilize them as long as they grow, and honestly, these plants are going to grow no matter what kind of condition you put them in. It's just what type of growth you're going to get. I had my, I would say my jade pothos and my golden pothos in a corner underneath a deck in my patio and west-facing patio, but it was getting like minimal light, and it still grew for me. It was very, very slow, but it still grew, and it was starting to revert, especially the golden pothos, revert back to all green to optimize, you know, the amount of light it was getting. But I continue to fertilize them all year round because they continue to grow for me. I mean, 2 of them are wrapping around my office as we speak. They're growing so well for me. So I dilute in an organic fertilizer. I use liquid dirt. I use it at 1/2 to 1/4 strength for all my plants as long as they're growing throughout the whole year. If they're putting out growth, they're getting fertilized. I also do not hold back on worm castings because it's not going to hurt the root structure of the plant, and it's not going to stress them out either. So those are the 2 things I use to fertilize all my plants, including my beautiful Neon Queen. So if you have any other questions regarding the care for this beautiful plant, feel free to leave it in the comments section below. If you liked the video and you found it very informative, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. Don't be afraid to share it with others. We need to help others take better care of their plants. And if you have any other care tips that you have found have worked really, really great for your pothos, please feel free to leave it in the comments section. We are a community, and we're helping each other and supporting each other as plant moms and dads. So until next time, keep giving your plants a lots of planty love.